everyone, and welcome down to episode number 26 of the Down South Photo Show with me, Brendan Waits. Remember to introduce myself this week, and my good friend down in Tasmania, Cam Blake. Hello, Cameron.
Hello, Brendan. I'm glad you remembered. It's in the notes this week that you need to introduce yourself. So
isn't that pathetic? Episode 26, and you've actually got to put it in the notes for me to mention my own name.
I've got to prompt you to actually introduce who you are. That's hilarious. Yes. How you going, mate? You travelling okay, or what's been going on with you? You've had
this is
interesting
a very
week.
very loaded question. I ticked the box that no one wants to tick. I got the COVID.
You got the COVID.
I got the COVID.
Right.
We are on the YouTube and the Facebook.
And you got the COVID. Right.
I got the COVID. Tested positive on a rapid antigen test on Saturday night. Boo to me. Today is Wednesday, so I became symptomatic on Saturday night, which was a real bummer.
Symptomatic would be what, a bit of a sniffle or a bit of a sore throat or something like that.
Yeah, it was a sore throat.
I'm taking notes because I'm going to get it eventually.
I don't think we can get it through Zoom, but we'll test it.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. The guy that owns the coffee shop across from me in Ocean Grove sent me a text message that afternoon saying he had tested positive. I get my coffee from him every day, so that's the front runner for where I and However, being in retail, you tend to get everything. No matter, masks are still mandatory. We have density limits in Victoria, and we've been adhering to all that. But look, it was inevitable, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think it's just a matter of time, not when. When is it? Now or whenever? Can't even talk at the moment. You know what I mean? A matter of when, not how, or whatever it is. How, not when.
Yes.
I think even down here, it's gone a little bit crazy down here at the moment with what's happening. Our borders are opening. We're getting cases. There's people isolating. There's people testing positive. We can't get rat tests down here either because they're like a diamond. Diamonds in the rough there. You can't find them. So it's inevitable that you're going to get it or know someone that's got it. It's funny because up until I reckon since you told me this week or last week that you got it, I hadn't really had any direct personal contact with someone, or not contact, or probably a bad word to use.
That's right.
But I haven't had anyone in my personal sort of friends group get it, and now I've had you, and I've had a couple other people as well.
It's kicking off big time. It's spreading pretty fast, the Omicron variant. So it's one of those things, and it kind of gives me a bit of a giggle when I tell people, I've got it, and more than one person said, "Oh, who'd you get it off?" And it's
it's not like they give you a card and say, "Here you go, here's my COVID."
No, that's right. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, but I got it off someone, and I've sadly probably more than likely given it to others as well without knowing it. And bingo, here we are. So I am isolating at home for 7 days,
in the shed out the back, or
and I'll put it up on the screen. I've set up a camp out the backyard. I am in a swag.
Excellent. See, I was thinking that the other day. If I got it, and because Lisa's still working where she's working, and if I got it, I reckon I'd almost, apart from the symptoms of it, I'd be like, "That's it. I'm camping out the backyard. That's it. Just leave my food outside my swag every morning. And that's it."
Well, look, I mean, for us, we don't live in a huge house. Like it's tough. We've got two kids, 15 and 13, who we live in pretty close quarters. So we're doing as much as we can to isolate. There's a sense of inevitability that we'll all get it. Weirdly, I'm now, where are we, Wednesday night, so what's that make me? Almost day 5, and the other 3 have not shown any symptoms, which means one of two things: either they haven't got it yet, or they've had it and they were asymptomatic and
they gave it to you.
Correct. It could be. So we're doing things like labelling my cups, and for those listening, I've got a cup in front of me that says Dad's Water on it. Dad's Water,
not Dad's Army.
Just in case,
Dad's Water.
Just in case one of the kids sees that laying around and has a gulp out of it, but no, this is Dad's Water. Yeah. So, Anyway, things like that, and it's all good. We'll get by.
Yeah. Well, as long as you're looking after yourself and resting and drinking plenty of fluids and doing what you can to.
The first couple of days were pretty average. It was a very raspy throat, burning headache, just big sniffles and that sort of stuff. And then by sort of day 3, I started coming good. In the mornings now, I hardly feel like I'm sick. So definitely on the rebound. And
that's good.
Hopefully after the 7 days of ISO, so Saturday coming, I'll be able to get back to work.
Yes, that would be nice. Well,
yes,
here's good health. Here's good health to you for the next few days, and hopefully,
thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Next episode, you're going better.
Yeah, we'll get through. Will be no worries at all. I want to quickly talk about, and I can already feel my voice is going to crack. So I'm, not getting emotional. My voice is going to bail on me because Maybe I should be hosting the show then. Well, you'd introduce yourself at least. Your background, Cameron. I saw this background come up on social media this week, and describe it for the listeners.
So, for the people at home who are non-visual, this is a shot of, it's sort of in between Queenstown and Strahan on the west coast of Tasmania. It's a dawn shot, not another effing sunrise. Hashtag. But I actually shot a wedding out at Strahan on the weekend just gone, and I had a bit of stuff to do back in Hobart, so I stayed the night and then got going real early. And as always, when you get up early and on a mission to get home, Mother Nature just throws up epic sunrises and epic fog in the valleys and all the whole thing. So this shot is actually a drone shot taken above a couple of valleys, and one of the valleys I think is the King Valley, where the King River runs out of Queenstown towards Macquarie Harbour, I think it does. But yeah, just a high sort of shot overlooking these beautiful rolling mountains and valleys, and a little bit of a sunrise happening in the back left-hand corner. And I think for those who can see it, there's a couple of sort of like the top of the trees on the hills, all are a little bit off colour. I think they might have been actually burnt. I think there might have been a bit of a fire go through that might have burnt the top of the tree. So you got this sort of contrasting sort of dark forest and light forest all along the ridges there. So yeah, that's where it is. It was I don't put my drone up much at all these days. I don't know. It's always there, but and I actually didn't expect to see this when I put the drone up. I was looking the other way at the mountains around Queenstown, and then I turned the drone. As you do, you always do. Here's a tip for you: if you ever get your drone up and you think I'm going to go shoot north, and that's where I'm going to shoot, just do a 360 rotation of the drone with the video going or whatever. Have a look, because there might be something going on all directions, and that was exactly what happened here. I was looking one way and got something the other way.
I think that's a tip for everyone who's shooting landscape: is don't forget to look behind you, particularly at not another effing sunrise. Hashtag not another effing sunrise, which we'll come back to later. So it was a good start today, and I knew I had a pretty good photo when I saw it. I'm like, that looked pretty cool. So, but I don't think it's as impressive as what you've got behind you though, in 4:3 ratio. If I rotate that way, maybe there we go.
And again, so for people at home who can't see, I'm going to give it
give us the 1,000 words.
I'm going to give you a quick description of what I can see. It looks like this epic. It looks like this epic storm off the coast there, and there's some really cool colours going on there. But I don't know what beach that is, Brendan. Is that
so this is Torquay. So this is where my other story is Torquay camera and photo, and this was last month during the Christmas madness when I was over there stocking up that store, and I stopped and grabbed myself a coffee. There's a coffee shop just near where this photo was taken, and I thought, those clouds are looking pretty awesome. So I popped over there and got a photo with my iPhone.
I was going to say, I know that's all. You can just tell it's an iPhone shot.
You so can.
You can. I can tell it's an iPhone shot. I like the little person walking on the beach. That's good timing.
Yes.
And I love the colour, the blue colours, and it's really nice.
Yeah, it's a cool shot. I mean, it's not. It's an
iPhone shot. It's one of those.
What a piece of crap. It won't end up. It won't make the walls of the gallery. I wouldn't have thought, but you never know. Actually, it's funny you should say it though, because I should say it. I put this photo up on the Torquay Camera and Photo Facebook page, and it got a lot of really nice responses. So who knows? Maybe it will end up on its walls.
Did you disclose it was an iPhone?
No, but it wouldn't be hard for anyone to find out.
No,
I didn't say it wasn't an iPhone.
No, you said it was.
I said it was a photo.
A photo.
No, I didn't say anything. It's just
that's true.
Yeah,
it is. It's really cool. The sky looks incredible. So, just needs a lightning bolt or two, and that would be off the charts good.
Okay, well,
Just
of late,
Photoshop,
we've had a few. Yeah, exactly. We've had a few thunderstorms roll through, and thunderstorms are forecast for tomorrow. I'll go down. No, I won't. I'm in ISO.
So, there you go. Put your drone up in your back. Put your drone up in your backyard.
I will, and I'll do a 360 rotation of it as well.
Excellent. That looks good.
Yes.
Looks good.
Which we've already talked about me. You mentioned just before we came on air that you've bought yourself a new gadget, which is going to be useful when you're out and about chasing landscapes, I would imagine.
Yeah, I am a gadget whore, is one way to describe me. If there's if there's a gadget out there that doesn't really need to be bought, but just maybe needs to spark my interest, I'll buy it. So, as everyone knows, I do a lot of hiking, and part of my business is doing the overland track. And when you go to these places, a lot of these remote places, there's no phone reception, there's no real help, there's no roads, there's no nothing. So you always need to take something out to be prepared. And I use for my main stuff I go out, I use what's called a Garmin Inreach Explorer. So that's like almost like those old handheld GPS things with maps on them. But what it does, it actually, instead of an EPIRB, a lot of people ask what's the difference between that and an EPIRB. An EPIRB is one of those ones where you press the button and just hope that the signal's made it to somewhere and that the chopper's on its way to help you. Like you don't get any verification that it's been received. You can also use a sat phone, but they're extremely expensive units to run. So the Garmin Inreach, and for anyone that goes out a lot hiking, or even on holidays, if you just go out back Australia where there's not much phone reception, these things hook up to any satellite. They connect within minutes and seconds sometimes, and they're like almost a phone that you can text through. So you can text messages to people, you can Facebook, you can put up Twitter things, you can get maps, weather, you can track things, you can do waypoints, you can do everything in them. But I use them because you get an instant response. So they also have a little SOS button that if you're in real big trouble, you can actually press an SOS button, and the Maritime Rescue in Canberra headquarters will message you directly back to your phone that's connected Bluetooth to this unit or to the unit, saying, what's the emergency, what's the patient, blah, 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 blah. So I've got one of those, which I love, but I'm going down to do the South Coast Walk in about a week and a half's time with another friend. And I thought I might just grab another similar thing to that just in case we needed some help. But it's just goddamn cute. That's the only reason I bought it. But this is the little unit. Look at it. It's tiny. So wow. This is the Garmin Inreach Mini. So it's about a third of the size of the original one. It is tiny.
It's very tiny, yeah.
It doesn't do the complete full functions of what the other one does. It doesn't have a color screen or a map screen or anything like that. But you Bluetooth it to your phone with the Garmin app, and it has all the maps on there. So it practically works the same. It just doesn't have it on the screen itself. So now we've got two units. So these just hook onto your backpack as you're walking along. These things, I've had some pretty good fun with these things over the years. One of my other guides, Felicity, we went to the walls of Jerusalem once, and she's a bit crazier than I am where we go. And there's a track out to the car, but there's also another valley that she wanted to go check out. And she's like, I'm going to go down that valley. And I said, well, I'm going back to the car the normal way. I might see you there, I might see you not. But we were able to talk to each other valleys away through these little units, just through our phones. So I was passing people on the track, text messaging her. And they're like, have you got phone reception? I'm like, no, it's hooked up to the thing on the back. And so we were sending messages, and also it shows your location. So I could see, it was almost a race back to the car between these two. We were 5 Ks away from each other. So yeah, I bought this today. It's all hooked up. It's all registered. They do have a subscription. They range from about $20 to $50 a month, which gives you sort of unlimited text messaging, tracking, access, all that kind of stuff. But the beauty of these things, and I'm crapping on a bit, but the beauty about these things is that you can turn the subscription on and off. So if you're not going anywhere for 6 months, you just turn it off and you don't pay anything. You just turn it back on when you're going out. So
that is very cool.
So the Garmin Inreach, this is the Mini, and the other one I use is the Explorer. This is about $480 through Anaconda. The other one's about $550. But yeah, it's a really good insurance policy if you go out, and you go out a lot. And like I said, you don't have to be going far. A lot of times they say accidents happen 10 minutes from home. If you're out just hiking in outback Victoria or New South Wales or Queensland or wherever you might be, they're just great to have, just that extra bit of assurance.
Might get one for the backyard.
Yeah, well, you could sit in the tent and text me.
Yeah. Pop quiz. What does EPIRB stand for?
Emergency something rescue beacon.
No. Close. You got emergency right. You got emergency and beacon right.
Emergency personalised indicator.
No.
Something.
Emergency position indicating radio beacon. Just for I don't know why I wanted to bring that up, but I was curious as well. I was like, what the hell does EPIRB even stand for? But now
that was my next guess.
Exactly. So our main topic tonight is we want to talk about people in landscapes. And Cam, the reason you brought this up was because you were saying you saw an Instagram post or something along those lines.
I'm going to dob a mate of mine in. He's not in Australia, so that's okay. So a mate of mine who's a really, really good photographer, Heath Holden. He's a Tasmanian by blood, but he's actually in the Middle East working and has been for a few years. He's got a pretty rocking job. He got employed to do all the photography lead up sort of documentation for the next Soccer World Cup, which is coming
that's
up.
A good one.
Yeah, so he's like all the building of the stadiums and all this jazz. So anyway, I get messages regularly from Heath, and Heath is definitely on our level of humour and shit stirring and things like that. And he shared a photo. He shared a photo with me tonight, saying it's only an epic photo if you've got someone standing in the front of the epic part of the photo, and it was referring to a shot that was of a mountain with someone standing on the edge of the mountain. Now,
will Heath give us the rights to put it up on here, or probably not? No, it's
no. Well, it's actually through one of the local things here that he must still follow. So he's seen it on his Instagram. But I've had many a conversation with people who know me through Tassie or wherever about people in landscapes, and it's funny that your background there has a person walking along the beach.
Yeah,
I think there's a difference if you want to put people in your landscapes. To me, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can do it really subtly and tastefully and professionally, like Brendan's done up the back there with the person, because that tells a story to me. That tells a person that who knows what thoughts are going through their head. They're walking on the beach, watching this storm roll in. There's that 1,000 words you're talking about. But if you are just going to put up a photo of that with you standing in a red jacket with your arms spread out, looking out to the sky like Jesus, I'm going to have issues with it. I think they ruin landscape images personally.
Well, I mean, it throws up the argument, isn't it? Is it any longer a landscape photo, or is it a portrait, or is it a
selfie?
Is it more capturing humanity rather than a landscape?
Yeah.
It throws all that stuff up. But the amount of copycat stuff that you see thanks to Instagram, the classic ones, the Milky Way core, and then the dude with the headlamp, like standing there like Superman looking up at the that's the classic as well. It has a place.
It has a place, and the thing is that this is absolutely and I've been in trouble for this a few years ago for going down a similar line with the old hairy tog.
In trouble, Cameron, please.
The old hairytog.com.au. So a few years ago, I went down this line of sort of stirring a bit of crap up about people having these people in their photos doing all these different things. And exactly like you said, there's the classic head torch looking at the Milky Way. There's the red jacket under a waterfall. There's people just standing on cliffs looking at nothing. Like there's 1,000 different things that people have put up there.
Mate, it takes a lot of skill to look like you're looking at nothing.
Well, okay, you know what though, and credit where credit is due. I've gone through that phase where I'm like, that might look good if I was standing under that waterfall. I can't do it. I look like a chump, and so I don't do it. But credit to the photographers who do it. The images are good. Like they're not generally poor images. I just feel that having someone do the same pose that's been done a million times on Instagram takes away from the visual value of that shot.
Yeah. Now there must be some kind of algorithm in Instagram or something that detects, the human form and then jacks it up the list of visibility and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would have thought, but also though, if I'm scrolling through Insta and I see a good landscape photo with a person in it, I do generally pause. Like I don't know. Is it just that the human eye is attracted to the human form, and that's what makes you stop and look, or
maybe I think and again, credit to these people that started doing it. I think what I think it originally started out doing, and what created so much interest and popularity with it, is it was putting people in places that you and I would never probably go. So, like the classic shots of those Iceland waterfalls, with the snow and all the colour and the little person in a red jacket. I can put, seeing that shot puts me there, and I can say, oh, that's really cool. But what I think's been done is, I think the people that started doing that originally would be probably dirty on the whole thing now, because I think, as always, a good idea will always get overdone. And I think it's been overdone now. And, you don't have to go too far to see people, just walking around, taking selfies of themselves or standing on the edge. Like I see it down here in Tassie all the time, people jumping fences to go stand on the edge of a cliff just to get a photo so their boyfriend or girlfriend can take a snap of them. Like it's just been done to death.
that kind of trophy hunting sort of does my head in. I don't get it. People have died chasing. You hear it regularly.
Absolutely.
Such and such was decided to just ignore the safety rail and went and stood on the edge of a waterfall. Guess what happened? They slipped and fell. I mean, it's not worth it, folks. Don't. And I was about to say to leave that up to someone. Don't leave it up to anyone. Just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
I've been in similar situations. Fraser Island. This is many years ago. I was at one of the freshwater lakes freshwater streams that flows out into the ocean. Absolutely pristine. This is World Heritage. World Heritage Fraser Island, now known as Kagari. And there was this tour guide from another country taking a group of backpackers, stood up on the railing and said, right, you're not supposed to do this, okay? Let's go. And they all climbed over the rail and went up this pristine creek and completely ruined my photo. Yeah, which is,
and we know how that goes. We know how well that goes down with people.
But they would have had sunscreen on and insect repellents and took God knows what with them and marched up this freshwater stream, and they just disappeared into the wilderness. I was like, wow.
I had almost a carbon, and I'll never forget. It was only a few years ago, a carbon copy scenario out at Mount Field National Park. There's a few waterfalls, beautiful Russell Falls, Horseshoe Falls in the works. And I had a group of maybe 4 people, not a huge group. We walked up to Horseshoe Falls. There was another group up there taking photos and things like that. And I don't know who they were. I don't know what company they were. I think they might have been from Interstate or something. I don't know. And the guy running it turned around to me. He goes, "Oh, you're running a photo tour, are you?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's my business down here." Blah blah. Oh, he goes, "I've never seen you around here. You properly licensed? Have you got permission? Have you got permission from the parks?" I'm like, I said, "Yeah, I'm fully accredited, the whole lot." He goes, "Oh, okay, yeah, just it's always good to check that people are doing the right thing." And then I shit you not, 5 seconds later, he's taken people over the barrier at Horseshoe Falls to go down into the river and shoot up river at Horseshoe Falls. And I went, "Dude," I said, "what are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, everyone does it." I'm like, no one does it anymore because it's against the rules. I said, you just asked if I'd checked in with the ranger. I said, I'll go check in with him now on the way out. I can tell you right now. oh, okay. And he got everyone out of the river. But I'm like, you don't have to. And I think there's this overwhelming myth that you have to go further and deeper and off the track further to get good shots. And it's so not true. If you can't go to a popular location and put your own spin on it, and you have to go do something and copy something that's already been done, then you've got a long way to go in your photography. You should be looking to try and be different.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Getting all grumpy now.
No, it's fine. I in some ways I understand the temptation because you go to I don't know, any of the waterfalls in the Otways near me, for example. Yeah. They've been shot to death. Everyone's got those photos. So the temptation to, look, particularly if there's a sign there that says, "Hey, we're doing this for your safety." It's not. Yeah. It's not. We don't want you to trample a fern. It's no. We don't want you to die. Yeah. So perhaps stay this side of the rail.
People falling off waterfalls is not really good for everyone else's enjoyment.
No, that's right. It shuts the joint down.
That's not good for tourism.
No.
Like I experienced the same thing. I went to is it Hopetoun Falls?
Yeah.
And you can just see like that's just been trampled past past the fence in all directions.
Yeah.
And I know plenty of people have been there, and people I know personally who jump the fences and do that. Fine, you do that. But to me, if I see a photo that's off, if I know that spot and I know they've taken that photo by jumping a fence or putting themselves in the landscapes when they shouldn't have, I just keep skimming. I lose respect a bit for it because to me, it's different if you're in the middle of whoop whoop and you're climbing a mountain. That's fine. If you want to go out and sit on the side of a cliff or do stuff like that, I get that. But if you're in a really popular location that's been done to death with 6 million people wearing a red jacket standing under Hopetoun Falls at the very end, don't do it. Wear a yellow jacket.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Change it up a bit. But anyway,
nude.
So Heath sent me this thing, and that always gets me going. And I just think that people in landscapes. I really love what you've done with your photo in the background there, and I really love those natural people in landscapes. I actually think they add value to it. But if you're going to just stand on a cliff with your arms out or a head torch looking up, or whatever it might be, then I just keep scrolling past.
Well, because I've got a bit of time on my hands these next couple of days and can probably do a bit of editing on this thing, I'm going to also pop up another photo which has now become my best-selling Ocean Grove photo. I'll put that up on the screen now. Cameron, you can't see it, so this.
Wow, that looks incredible.
Hey, look at that! Isn't it brilliant?
Why has that person got no pants on?
That's right. It's a typical steps down to the beach shot of mine that I do all the time. However, in this case, I left a family on the beach. And to me, it's first of all, it's a sense of scale.
Yes.
So when you put a human in the landscape, you can see, like that one behind me, you can see just how big that landscape is. So it gives it a sense of scale.
Originally, I think that's what put people in. That was the idea of leaving people in your landscapes, was to create that sense of scale and grandeur that, gee, I'm in front of Ayers Rock or Uluru and I'm this little speck and it's a really big rock. Now you've got people that go right up to the rock or stand in the path and look at the rock and, look at it in awe. It doesn't add anything to it. So,
No, I mean, this is we've got social media to thank, I think, for all of this, because again, it comes back to the trophy hunting and the endorphin release people get when they get the likes. And I'm guilty of it myself. I do it. I quite often will post a photo and go back to check and see the likes to get that little endorphin rush. And we all know now what stimulates likes and views, and that is all the stuff that gets copied because
that's right.
because it's popular. So and surely we must be reaching that point where we're going to turn the corner now, and now it's going to become good on you, dickhead. Like that's uncool now to do that. So.
I think I turned that corner about 5 years ago.
You are such a trendsetter.
But I honestly did. I honestly looked at things. I went, originally it's like, oh, that's cool. Look where that person is, and that just looks incredibly good. And then it's like, oh, hang on, now I've seen that same shot 600 times by 600 different topics.
And I'll give you 2 words for another reason why it's taken off: profile picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they want to have that show-stopping profile picture. Look at me, look where I am, that sort of stuff. Jeez, they're bloody self-centered mongrels.
I know, but having going back to what you said about the
hang on, let me just quickly check my Facebook profile photo before I go any further.
Everyone's going to be skimming through our Facebook profiles to make sure.
What did I have there?
Yeah, maybe we should move on. But I think, but what you were talking about before about having that family in your Ocean Grove shot, that's that's sort of quite a good seller. People can relate to that kind of thing.
Yeah. P.S. They're completely silhouetted. You can't ID them.
Yeah.
There's just a family in the distance enjoying the beach.
But people can say, oh, look, that's just a lovely family outing on the beach. I don't think these photographers that are taking shots in red jackets and hands out and head torches and everything else they do, they're surely not selling. Who's going to buy that? Like, who's going to buy a picture of someone they don't know in a red jacket in front of Uluru?
No, that's right, but it's a means to an end, isn't it? It gets eyes on their page and then followers.
Exactly right. And I can tell you through experience, like I don't have a massive, huge following on social media compared to some people. It doesn't bring you business. No. It bring now, if anything, Instagram and Facebook. If you have more followers, it brings you spam. It brings you just garbage.
No, I agree. It's out of control. We need to invent a new platform.
Yeah.
What do you think? Will we call it the Down South Photo Show? No, we'll come up with something better than that.
Yeah, we'll come up. Yeah. If you've got an idea for a new platform,
that's right. Hit us up. We're going to launch a whole new photo sharing platform.
And actually, while we're on the topic, or getting off the topic,
Facegram.
Gram face. While we're on the topic of people in landscapes and things like that, today we made a little bit of an announcement on our Facebook page that we may have I think a pretty damn big bloody special guest coming up. Hopefully in February. We're still trying to work on the details, but if that's true, then this topic will relate to that person quite well, and I think we might even touch on that if we do get the privilege to have him on the show. So, but stay tuned for that. That's maybe next month. We'll see how we go.
Cam loves a little teaser. He likes to just tease people. So
tickle and tease. That's my thing.
This could be. It's potentially still a month away, so get ready for the next 4 episodes for us to continue to tease who we may have coming up.
And then say sorry.
And I agree, it's a very, very good name to have on our podcast. So look forward to that, everybody. Now, I am going downhill a little bit here.
You are going downhill?
I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm hanging in there. But I'm very. No. I've got this. I will give up my hosting job over my dead body.
Your body.
hopefully not literally. I'm very excited and thrilled to say Dear Cam is back.
Back with a vengeance.
I'm wrapped because no one gave it a chance, to be honest. It was a crap segment, but it's back. The other segment that's fallen off the radar as well is your horror photography stories as well. So
we just had one about red jackets.
True, but they will make a comeback as well. So if you have got a horror photography story, please drop it to us on our socials or down below, all the links and stuff like that. This Dear Cam, how am I going?
Dear Cam.
This Dear Cam comes from avid listener of the podcast, Tim McNeely. I think I've pronounced that right. I don't know if you want his last name mentioned, but we've done it. So, hi, Tim.
We'll beep that out. Tim.
Should we go? Yeah. Should we go Tim M or T McNeely? Well, anyway,
I think you've thrown him under the bus. He's probably been trying. He's probably been on the run for like years now, and you've just put
that's
him out
right. We've blown his colour. Dear Cam, I've noticed my circular polarizing filter doesn't seem to cover the whole frame when I'm at a focal length of 16 millimeters. I'm assuming that's the widest angle this lens goes to. Is this normal? And not that I've noticed it necessarily being a bad thing in my photos, but is there a method to make sure at that focal length it's doing what it's supposed to do across the whole scene? What do you make of that, Cameron?
So he's noticed the circular polarizing filter doesn't seem to cover the whole frame.
Now, does that mean he can see the edge of the...
Yeah, so is he getting a section of his photo that's not sort of tinted or polarized or whatever, or is he getting vignetting, a bit more of a darker edge around? Having a 16mm focal length is pretty wide. That's what they would class ultra wide angle. So correct. Again, it would depend on what sort of filter system you're using, whether or not you're using a screw-on filter if it has a screw thread, or whether or not you're using the square filter holders where you have the circular polarizer in there. But usually a circular polarizer should cover your whole frame, and at the very, very minimal will leave a little bit of vignetting. Like a tiny little bit's acceptable, but if you're getting really dark corners on the edge or it's not happening that way, then you've got a problem. And my suggestion would be it's probably either something to do with the size of the filter in regards to the thickness of the filter. But if you've got a really old polarizer that's really fat and thick, like half a centimeter thick, you might be getting a bit more of that shadowing coming in from that filter, or you're using a step-up ring. So what a step-up ring or step-down ring, depending which way you go. If you've got, for example, a 56mm circular polarizer filter, but you need to put it on, a 72mm lens or something like that, or the other way around. I think I'm back in the front. I think people know what I mean. But you can actually step up or step down your filters. Sometimes they can also create, if your filter's not the exact same size as your filter thread, that can also happen. So probably need a little bit more information on that one, but I would suggest if he's not covering the whole frame and he's getting dark edges, I'd say his filter's either way too thick or he needs to buy a thin one, or he's using step-up rings or step-down rings, which don't always work that well either.
Yeah, I think you're pretty close to the mark. There are some newer Hoya filters, screw type filters. I think they're the Hoya HD Pro HD range, which are quite thin. They're like half.
They are the HD Pro ones. I've got them.
There you go. Thank you.
Yep.
The other thing, Tim, that you might be doing is stacking your filters. So if you've got a UV filter on and you're putting your polarizer on that, get that UV filter out of there, because all it's doing is adding to the depth. It's basically two filter rings stacked on top of each other. Yep. And then when you zoom out to 16 mil, it's vignetting because it's picking up the corner edges. We think that's what you're talking about, Tim. So if we haven't answered that correctly, by all means, hit us up.
The other one I was going to suggest, he also said there that is there a method to make sure that focal length is doing what it's supposed to do? I used to have this similar sort of issue with the Olympus 7-14 lens in the Micro Four Thirds, because it doesn't have a screw thread, and they never really had a like a filter holder made for it, and up until recently. And what I used to do, so the 7-14 is the equivalent of a 14-28. Yeah, 14-28. I used to zoom in a little bit to like 15 mil and 16 mil, and it used to negate that problem a little bit of the shadowing that you used to get. So in that situation, it's a little bit of maybe a quick fix until you figure out exactly what's going on. But if you're at a scene, Tim, and you're finding that you're still getting that shadowing, maybe you go to 16 mil or something like that, and it might just reduce it by a little bit. But yeah, I think we probably have covered it. That's probably one of those answers as to what's going on with that. So pick and choose which one suits best. But thanks for the question.
Fun fact: there was a guy on eBay selling the filter holders for the Olympus 7-14. Yes. That he was 3D printing at home.
Yes, I bought one of those.
There you go. Very cool.
And it worked. I thought you were going to say a fun fact that Tim's now been arrested because the authorities have now caught up to him, but he hasn't been. That's okay.
Yes. Sorry for saying your last name, Tim, but anyway, it was written there, so I had to say it.
Yeah, but thanks, Tim. That's a good one, and it's like I said, I've had that problem before with the Olympus one, and it's annoying because you want to get the full frame of what you're shooting, and you want the full frame to be polarized, and if you're getting these little dark edges or it's not working at all. The other thing we probably didn't touch on with that as well, just thinking out loud, maybe a filter's screwed. Maybe it's just a crappy polarizer that's, maybe it's faded around the edges a bit, or maybe it's just been overused, or maybe it's heavily scratched or something like that. So one of those answers, I reckon, is going to be the correct one.
And I'm assuming, and you should never assume anything, but I'm assuming Tim has got his polarizing filter, if it's a circular polarizer, which it says circular polarizer, so I'm assuming it's a screw thread, that he's got it set correctly as well, because you can obviously twist it to get more and less polarization.
That's true. And if you've screwed it on your filter the wrong way or cross-threaded it, we can't help.
No,
that's the worst thing ever.
I know how to get them off.
I do too.
Right? Yeah. Well, we won't give that away. That's trade secrets. You got to come in and pay us money to.
Yeah, you got to. If you do have a filter stuck on your camera or cross-threaded, there's a couple of ways I used to do it. First thing, I used to put my lens in the fridge for about 20 minutes, so it shrinks the metal, because the metal expands under heat because you're trying to get it off with your hand. And then the old bottle top openers, those rubber square mat things that you used to open the old Slade. Remember Slade drinks? Do you remember them?
Yes.
Yeah, my grandma used to get them. And
you used to get them delivered to your house.
Yeah, in the yellow box. Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember that.
Sunshine Pine was my favourite.
Yeah, we didn't. And what was the passion fruit one? Pasito or something?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I remember my grandmother in her top drawer used to have a square cloth that was like a rubber cloth.
Yes.
And they're awesome. So put it in the fridge,
jars and stuff like that.
Yeah, give it a jiggle, and then that's my tip. But you probably
the two tips that I've got. One, you get a big ass rubber band, the big fat red ones. Put it around, then you've got the grip to be able to get off. If that doesn't do it,
throw your lens.
Don't try this at home, folks. This is the tricky way to do it. If you get yourself a pair of pliers and you hold the lens really, if you hold the lens really close to the filter.
Do we need a bigger disclaimer before you go down here? Otherwise, we're going to get people sending us messages. I tried your pliers option.
If you've got a filter thread, this is the Brendan Waite's guaranteed way to remove it if it's cross-threaded and stuck. Okay, listen in, folks.
Yeah.
hang on, I've got one. Look, I'm going to demo it. Well, I haven't got a filter on here, but you get the idea. If you hold that end element so it can't twist, if you hold those, you get a pair of pliers down vertically and you pinch the filter and then twist it. Amazing every time.
And if you slip and go through your filter onto your element, sorry.
That's on you. But
no, it's gonna be on you now.
the first time I did that, I couldn't believe it. I had this customer. Yeah. We battled with it for ages, and then I was like, you know what? I'm prepared to trash this filter to get this thing off. So I did the plier trick, and it just pops it off. It's amazing because you get leverage, you get grip, and you get leverage, and it's yeah.
And
so
going back to the Deer Cam by Tim, those Hoya HD Pro 1 filters, they are ultra thin. And once they get on, they're the hardest ones I've ever had to get off. But the big rubber band one is a great one. So put one of those in your camera bag.
Yeah.
Because you're guaranteed you'll be out doing a photo like Brendan's behind where you need to polarize the water a bit and you'll need to swap lenses and put it on another lens and you can't get it off and everything's happening in front of you. If you have a rubber band there, you're laughing.
Or do what I did and just swipe your screen a bit and it does it all for you.
Yeah. Do you have a polarizer on the iPhone?
No.
Yeah.
It just makes pretty photos. I don't have to do anything. Yeah. I literally did that with my eyes shut.
I'm still not buying it.
It was magic. January is the month we are in, and we are running our January Sunrise Challenge, folks. Hashtag not another effing sunrise. So we want you guys. Hashtag. Oh, mate, I don't know how you came up with it.
Yeah.
Did you come up with it?
No, I didn't. It was one of our listeners. One of our listeners.
So basically what we are encouraging you to do through the month of January, it's nice and warm, the sun's up nice and early, it's a good time of year. This is for our Australian listeners and viewers. Go out and shoot the sunrise and tag us in there, not another effing sunrise. And throughout the month of January, we want to see them coming in. Maybe next week, if we might even put one up on the screen. And,
we've
give you a shout out.
Yeah, we've had a few. I can give a shout out now. We had one from Mal Haddon, and he got a beautiful sunrise from one of my most favourite spots, which is Mount Buffalo.
Do you think Mel would be close to our number one ticket holder?
He'd have to be.
He's very close.
Rightly so, and he lives in a beautiful part of the world.
He lives in a great part of the world.
There was another guy who put up a drone shot of this West Coast Tasmania one that wasn't too bad as well.
Is that also hashtag not another effing drone?
They didn't. Cam Blake forgot to hashtag his own.
You were doing material. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was trying to be funny. You know what we also had some great feedback about is the film. The film conversation we had last week. People are pulling it. We're bringing film back. Don't worry about Kodak and Agfa and all those dudes. We are bringing film back like it's 1985.
Absolutely. I agree. I loved our impromptu, mind you, discussion about film last week. And just for everyone listening out there, driving the car, turn your stereo up because we got a lot of feedback about this noise. Oh, yes.
Hang on.
Oh, listen to it. Oh, it's so nice.
It is so nice. I hope there's no film in this camera.
There's definitely none in this. I've got a confession to make. I now own two Pentax K1000s. So why have one when you can get two? I've got one arriving in the post, hopefully tomorrow. That'll be a good thing to get me through ISO. Is to the reason
just sit in your tent whining, cocking your shutter.
There's two reasons I bought it. One,
I'm doing more material. Come on,
and I'm just fobbing you off.
Tough crowd.
There was two reasons I bought it. One, I see K1000s and it's my camera.
Yeah.
It was made roughly the year I was born. It was the first camera I ever owned in terms 45. Of SLR. Yeah. They're an absolute cracking camera. They just look so classic. And Pentax probably ripped off the design from Olympus or whatever, but they just look so good. The stainless steel body and the black vinyl.
You know what it is? It's going. We're going on film again, but it's anyone that shoots film these days, I would be quite confident in saying that the majority of them have owned a K1000 at some stage. It's almost like the first car you own and learn to drive in. That's the K1000. It's the camera you learned to shoot film on when you started shooting film. Yeah. And now it's just an absolute classic. And
1977 Ford Cortina with a black vinyl roof. 4 on the floor.
1975 Celica TA22 gunmetal grey 5.
Nice.
And I spent way too much money on it.
I remember that the Celica was the cool kids car.
Yeah, and I had a number plate Silly SILY because I used to call them silly cars.
Mm-hmm.
I now have a motorbike that has the number plate Silly, so I've been able to move it on.
Nice.
But anyway, we're not a car show.
No, we're not. But the other reason I bought this second K1000, which I'll be able to show off to you next week on the pod, it came with the original instruction manual, which spun my wheels. I just want to read it. I just want to have it. And it also comes with a retro camera bag that doubles as one of those film changing dark bags.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That you
That's
can,
cool.
Yeah. So I just Anyway, I paid way too much for it, but I'm like, I got to have that. It was one of those things. So
I've got an alarm going off in my house.
Have you? Your house isn't burning down,
Yeah.
is it?
I don't know what that alarm is.
All right. Maybe you need to run.
No, I don't know. Something's going on.
No,
I thought my wife might come out and get it, but we'll just let it go. There's an alarm going off in my house. That's fine.
Is it right? It's not not someone.
No idea.
No, I'm too intrigued now. The listeners are intrigued,
let's
Cameron.
They're going to see me in my pajamas. Hang on. It stopped. It stopped.
Oh, we nearly saw his tartan pajamas. Come on.
You did, but you didn't.
No,
I don't know what that was. I've never heard that. Unless the kids have been setting off alarms, like just resetting alarms.
Anyway, we digress.
Anyway,
what do you got coming up this week, Cameron?
This week, what have we got going on? I'm actually off to Cradle Mountain this weekend. I've been asked to do. I've been asked. I've done a fair bit of work with the Cradle Mountain Lodge up there, and they're after a new hero shot of the lodge.
So make sure you take your red jacket.
Yeah, so red jacket, head torch, the whole thing. Hey, if you guys want a good laugh, go to www.thehairytog.com.au. It's a line of clothing I designed, and it's got pretty much every one of those piss take scenes that we're talking about ready to go on a t-shirt. And it's been designed by this amazing guy in Melbourne who did all the sketches for me. I find it funny. It's just my own little thing. Have a look. But yeah, going to Cradle Mountain, trying to get a new hero shot of the lodge and the tavern and the whole area. And then going into next week, getting myself prepared for this South Coast track, which is we take off on the 20th. So next Friday, I think we fly down there.
How very exciting!
Yeah, I've been watching some videos. Do a bit of prep. You make sure let's see where I'm going. What sort of photo ops can we do? And all I've seen is 8 days of mud. So I don't know. But there is some absolutely stunning scenery where I'm going.
Cool. All right. Well,
so I'm really excited.
Yeah. We all look forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
I've got, as we speak, 3.5 more days of isolation to tick off. That's just what's coming up for me this week, which is totally fine. I'll get my K1000 in the mail tomorrow, and I'll read the manual. That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
But of course, it's had a bit of a knock-on effect. So we haven't been able to open the shop this week because not only did I contract the COVID, we also had one of my staff members has got symptoms. Key staff member. So we've got 2 shops and only 2 people to run them, which you can't. Anyway, blah blah.
Yeah.
So we've had to close Ocean Grove a few days here and there. So and it's been a bit sketchy with when we can open, when we can't. One of my staff members is now back on deck, so he was able to open today, which was great. Cool. So we're sort of juggling and getting a little bit behind with work. So 1,000 apologies to all my fantastic customers out there who are waiting on some work. It's coming, folks. The times we live in, everyone's been awesome, though. I must say, the comments I've been getting has been brilliant. The support's been fantastic. So thanks to everyone
I gave you some sort of great support on our little message when you told me you had it.
Yeah, I can't remember what you said.
Yeah, it's not appropriate for this show.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, no, I do remember now, and no, you're right, it's not appropriate.
But I think kudos to you you've done a stellar job hosting tonight, and most people would have probably stayed in their swag in the backyard and played with their K1000, but you haven't. You've stepped up.
I am looking forward to hitting the sack. So thanks everyone for tuning in to episode number 26. Cam, have you got anything else to add?
No. Do we go into the full details of the January Sunrise Challenge? I tuned out when the alarm went off.
Not another effing sunrise. So basically all we want you to do is go out and take a sunrise photo and post it to your social media channels and tag it.
Hashtag, or you can post it directly to our Down South Photo Show Facebook page. We'll find it and we'll give you a shout out. If I can see a big, massive flood of red jackets in front of sunrises coming, but
please do it.
It's okay.
Please,
I'll be off the grid for 8 days, so you can post whatever you like.
Just do it. Just do it for me. That'd make my day. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So not another effing sunrise hashtag.
Yeah, hashtag. But nothing more from me. Hope you get well. Awesome that you're getting better, which is good.
Yep. Yeah, I'm through the worst of it. We'll be fine. Thanks everyone for listening to episode 26 of the Down South Photo Show. We'll see you for episode 27 next week. Thanks, guys.
See you guys.